I've been joined by Elikem Kotoko, who is the National Communications Team member of NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
It's your first time here?
Yes, it is my first time in your studios, but not the first time in your promise.
On Breakfast Daily, at least. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We've also been joined by, I think, another first-timer, Alphonse Naab, who is the Government Communications Team member as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, good.
Thank you so much for making it. It's your first time as well, isn't it?
Yes, this is my first time here.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
You are doing great.
Thank you.
Yes.
So we take a look at our first story. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says, We've been tax compliant. Our shutdown unfortunate. That's coming from the Manganese Company. So I'm going to read it briefly and then we'll delve into the matters. So they're saying here, the Ghana Manganese Company Limited has rejected allegations of tax and other infractions leveled against it by government. According to them, as a matter of fact, the price of manganese ore is now being determined by GRA. So we know that on Tuesday, the government said that they were deliberately decreasing their prices and messing with their prices a bit for profit against what they're actually supposed to do. But they are now coming to say that they are actually not the ones who determine their prices. It's actually GRA. And as far as taxes are concerned, they've been doing so well that they even won an award in 2018 from the same GRA. So I'm going to quote them briefly. They are saying here, we would like to put on record, therefore, that all our tax obligations up to date have been honored. As a matter of fact, we are still waiting for an amount of $20 million in VAT refund due us from GRA between the periods of December 2018 and 2019. The records are there for everyone to check at GRA. We believe our sterling performance in honoring our tax obligations contributed to GRA Bronx Award conferred on us for tax compliance in 2018. Now, there are two angles to the story I want us to look at. So in their response, they've clearly shown that for the past year, they've done the right thing. But the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources also raised concerns that from 2010 up until 2017, they were not necessarily doing the right thing, right? So the ministry had some concerns as far as pricing are concerned and taxes as well, and even engaging local producers so that you contribute to the local content. So maybe they've done the right thing this past year, but what about the 7 years, the 2010 to 2017? Were they doing the right thing? So Alfonso, I'll start with you. Yeah. First of all, your feedback on this story, both from the ministry's perspective. On Tuesday, they ordered this company to shut down. Yeah. And then 2 days later, the company's coming out to say we've actually not done anything wrongly.
Yeah. Let me say good morning to our viewers. And then good morning to your hardworking staff. I think you're a major pillar in Ghanaian media. So congratulations. Yes, I think we are looking at the issue from two angles. There is a missing link between the management of the company and the ministry, because when you look at the story, the ministry is speaking, is acting based on an audit report from 2010 to 2017. That is what informed the minister's action. But the defense of the workers, if you look at what the workers are coming out, they are not speaking to the audit report which the minister acted on. But they are speaking to GRA, exonerating them from any illegalities or any wrongdoing. So these are two separate issues. And so there is a missing link. And the fact that the workers have come out to say that revenue-wise, tax-wise, they think that they've been equal to the tax and up to date. I think that there is a missing link, and gratefully, tomorrow there will be a meeting between the ministry and the management of the company. This missing link should be ironed out. As government, our concern certainly is with the workers, the number of workers who will have to be at home within this period, that these difficulties are being ironed out. But you cannot also say that you close your eyes onto glaring facts which perhaps the minister is previewed to. And so if the country is bleeding revenue-wise from the company, it is better to take a break, take some stock, iron out the difficulties and see how best we can move forward with, so that the nation and the citizenry will be the ultimate beneficiary. So I think they are speaking from two angles. And the meeting tomorrow, we will all be following. The meeting tomorrow will give us some information as to what really is missing.
Okay.
Yes.
But shouldn't the minister had perhaps engaged them first, find out what's going on, give them an opportunity to defend themselves before ordering them to shut down?
You see, when you have an audit report, before a complete audit report will come out, professionally what is supposed to be done is that he who is being audited will be given the opportunity to answer to some queries of the audit. So I don't know which one the minister, whether it's a complete audit report or a temporal audit report the minister acted on. And if it is a temporal, if it's a complete audit report that he acted on, certainly there will be recommendations as to the way forward. And so it will all come out from tomorrow, what will happen. Perhaps, if you look at the figures that are being mentioned, it's scary.
$4 million
yes,
in the likes.
it's scary. So you cannot continue to allow this to go on. And if you listen to the minister's comments, it looks like they are deliberately being done. I mean, to cause the nation to bleed in terms of revenue. I mean, a quick action will have to be taken. And with this government, you cannot sleep on the job and expect things to be well. You are being monitored from all angles, just like how ministers are being kept on their toes.
But isn't the government perhaps being a bit too reactionary? Because just Tuesday, right, is there anything, couldn't they have had this meeting on Monday? Granted, yes, perhaps the state has lost a lot of money as a result of some accusations leveled against the company. But this is a company responsible for employing almost 2,000 people. Now, all these guys have had to stay home because of the shutdown, and we are now going to meet them on Friday. Couldn't we have at least said, okay, what are some preventive measures to take? If we engage them at this level, hear their side, and they still continue to do the wrong thing, then even their workers are aware that in 2 weeks, this company is going to shut down indefinitely or whatever it might be, right? But you order them to shut down on the 6th of August. They come out with their response on the 8th, and then you're saying, okay, we're going to engage you on the 9th.
Thank you. There have been, if you listen to the minister carefully, there have been continuous engagements, and there have been timelines, there have been warnings, and it's been ignored. From the minister's angle. The workers are saying it is not so. We don't owe the state, and we have met our obligations as far as taxes are concerned. But the basic fact is that these two groups, the minister and the ministry, are speaking from an audit report dated 2010 to 2017. But the workers are speaking from GRA reports that indicates how they meet their tax obligations. So these are two varying issues. And they've been engagement. If you listen to the minister, he said that they've been cautioned, they've been warned, and still what they are doing is refusing to honor what, their tax obligations as far as government revenue is concerned. So it is not an action that was taken within a day. Certainly, an audit report from such a large company, you will have to study it for some time and then engage the people before the necessary action is taken. So I believe that tomorrow will give us some clues as to how to bring finality to this. And what I'm saying is that as a government, the workers' concern, their plight, is the paramount concern of government. And for that matter, this will not linger on for workers to suffer unduly. We know that every worker is more or less a tree with branches. You are handling a lot of issues. So it will not fester on. But it is good that this is coming out. Once this action has been taken, everything that was hidden will come out. Then number two, going forward, everybody will sit well. Yes, and any other state organization that is watching this play will certainly get to know at a point that, hey, we can be next.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Elikem, your thoughts on this matter?
Thank you so much, Dziffa, and good morning to our viewers once again. And first and foremost, on behalf of the NDC, the party I represent, our commiserations still go to the families of the kidnapped girls. We sincerely still hope that these girls will be found to bring finality and restore some joy in the lives of the family. In regards to this whole debacle, it appears that we have a government, permit me the latitude of time to say that is constant when it comes to taking knee-jerk decisions, then making a U-turn now to give us certain speculations and assumptions, which is not the very reason for which people elected you into office. Don't forget that these are the apostles of competence who are gradually falling flat in the face of a litmus test on their competence. If, for instance, within 2 days, you as a minister who is very capable enough is aware that you probably have not consulted, you have not reached out to the entity that is involved in this situation, what prevented you from just a phone call or even instructing someone from beneath your office to reach out to inquire further? But taking this drastic decision, getting it into the media space, creating so much panic, and in 48 hours or 24 hours, you're now telling us that 72 hours from the time you took that decision, you are now calling them to the table to discuss. To discuss what? Permit me, people are supposed to be using their brains, not just their emotions.
But the minister, according to Mr. Alphonse, he's been engaging them. So it's not necessarily this is the first time he's going to engage them.
Well, then
but they've raised concerns, and it's only right for them to meet again.
But
to
isn't it
address those
surprising and
concerns.
very amazing that you've been engaging people of this nature and probably the concerns they are raising never came up? How many times have you met? What were the concerns that were raised and all that? And I was listening to you read the news item where they said they have even tax returns outstanding of about 20 million.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you see, you just can't continuously be taking such knee-jerk decisions and expect that we applaud you for that. The mere fact that I come here and I hear that one of your cameramen or your producer slaps someone, for instance, on set or does something untoward, does not mean that I should be conclusive enough to say that, look, oh, he can do that. Look, you guys should sack him. I should be able to give him an opportunity to, if I want to act on that, to find out what it is, if I am the manager or the one responsible for your studio. But you don't take these decisions, which is very conclusive, that you have concluded they have done something very wrong. And now you are calling them back again. It insults your intelligence as the person in that capacity acting on behalf of the president. And it also insults the intelligence of the appointor, because the appointor expects that his appointee acts right in his capacity. And so they are just, pardon me, but pussyfooting all over the place. And it is not auguring well for the government. Don't forget that every decision government takes has consequences. So you don't take such decisions that rather goes to display some gross level of incompetence. And then again, you turn around now to say, okay, I'm now giving them the platform. So what informed the first decision? Are you quashing that decision or what? Because don't forget, over 2,000 people directly rely on that. And like my brother said, it is just like the branch of a tree. So there may be about another of a fourth or a third or even more than that who are beneficiaries indirectly to that. There are people who are not directly employed but benefit from that entity. And so if you are taking such decisions, you must be very careful, meticulous, to be very sure that there's a certain certainty in what actions you are taking. But you don't do things haphazardly and expect citizens to again be applauding you. Now imagine the panic that is already being caused over there. The staff are saying that they will be embarking on demonstration. The police will be saying that we will not permit you. And so you begin to realize that it appears everything is just in the interest of a regime, but not a national interest. And that is very worrying, because you will agree with me that we had not finished talking about the AFCON 4.5 million whatever brouhaha. We were talking about the mid-year budget, where government has displayed the fact that it's unable to take care of the energy sector, and therefore pleading that Ghanaians should now pay more. When people are watching us on Facebook now, they will be paying 50% more for watching you and I. And then came the PDS saga, which is becoming also another dent and a major one in that regard. Then the next one is the pathetic and unfortunate situation of the Takrady girls. And then we wake up again and there's this other one. Can we please plead with government to be very serious and at least give us one scandal per week? Because the consistency and the speed with which we hear the bad news is becoming just too much and too worrying. This is a government that promised to create jobs, but is in a haste to rather collapse or close down companies. And
can we stick to the actual
that is what I'm
topic
saying.
we're discussing here? Because on the one hand, on Tuesday, government did raise some concerns. The company has been operating for almost 7 years and not paying taxes to the state, and also, just certain prices that are not correct and are not accurate. The minister has the right to do the due diligence because it's taxpayers' monies, right? We are always complaining that the state is not taking enough revenue internally, and we keep borrowing. So if a ministry is doing its job as far as doing its due diligence to ensure that companies are paying the appropriate taxes, I don't think that's something we should say, oh, it's government just trying to do anything.
Not in any way at all. And I do not think anyone would want to belittle or belabor the points being made in relation to this. You see, at the mention of even due diligence, it is a spite in the face of government. And that is why I'm telling you, then the minister itself is probably a misfit in there. Because this monster you are calling due diligence is supposed to have been done before the action he took. And therefore, if you are failing to take an action which is supposed to be before whatever you are doing, then you're already taking the wrong steps. And the question is, so what informed the minister's decision in taking what steps
It was
he
an
took?
audit report.
But if he felt that, for instance, an audit report is not enough, and I should be able to at least give another hearing to the sector, because the company is related to government in any way, it's related to the state. It's about revenues. And you see, for instance, if what the finance officer of the entity is saying that, look, we are not in charge of our pricing, for instance, GRA is and GRA does, and therefore accusing us of being the ones fidgeting with the pricing, it's wrong. Does that not also question the integrity or the knowledge base of the minister, not knowing that the enterprise we are talking about is not responsible for that? And if you had engaged them properly, you would have been in the better position, if not the best position, to know that I cannot put this out there because it is not within their remit. I can say this because that is within their remit, and I can act this way because I am informed in this decision. But as it seems, as it looks now, it appears the minister had half-baked information and decided to immediately go onto the market with it, and that is not helping the process.
Okay, so I'll come to you now here. What is it? Is it that the company should have updated the ministry on everything they're doing as far as changes being made with this whole GRA setting prices for us, overpaying taxes to a point where they have $20 million tax return VAT? Or should the ministry had engaged the company and asked them, okay, we have this audit report, but what have you done recently to clean up and be better? Because at the end of the day, they're still meeting tomorrow. Couldn't they have done that before the announcement was made?
Thank you. I think the angle from which my brother is coming from, he's not speaking directly to the issue. Let me tell you. If you are talking of a company that an audit report is accusing of tax abnormalities, from 2010, they sat on it, 2010, up to 2016 when they left power.
2017, okay. No, what? Okay.
2016, 2017, this government came in. In 2.5 years, we are working on a 7-year-old audit report. And the minister has seen a lot of rot that requires urgent action. And that is the action the minister is taking. And I'm stating again that the workers are reading from a different book, and the minister is coming from a different direction.
Yes, but respectfully, if the minister on Tuesday had enough conviction to say shut down, it means he had crossed his T's and dotted his I's. So there's no need engaging them anymore. You've asked them that we have this audit report for the past 7 years. You've been evading taxes, you've been messing up your prices, you're taking money away from the state, so shut down. Then it's it. Shut down is shut down. Why are you now engaging them the next day? Because they've now come out to say their side of the story. Shouldn't that have been part of your investigation that informed you ordering them to shut down in the first place?
Thank you. Conflicts are not necessarily bad. There are positive sides of conflict. After this conflict, the company will become much better. As a government, you cannot shut down a company that has about 2,000 employees forever.
But that's what they did on Tuesday. You told them to shut down.
I said it has been shut down temporarily to ensure that the right things are done. So if the workers or the management of the company are saying that the minister is not right, they should bring their facts to the table, because the minister is acting based on an audit report. And that audit report is what informed his action. And so this shutdown is meant for the two groups to come together and ensure that the right thing is done going forward.
But couldn't the two groups had come together before ordering? Because now you are directly affecting the lives of 2,000 Ghanaians.
Of course.
Right? So you've noticed an audit report. That's one thing.
Yes.
You meet with the management, give them some sort of deadline in a month. If you don't clean up, then you go ahead. But you don't just shut down and then 2 days later say, we're going to
That's
meet.
what I indicated, that if you listen to the minister clearly, the minister says that there's been some sort of engagement, but management have just been adamant.
So what's the difference now with meeting them tomorrow? If they've been adamant all along and you've decided to shut them down?
That is why the action has been taken. And this action is informing their preparation and what they are bringing to the table for discussion tomorrow. If they come to the table and we get to a point that we think that we have put in place all the necessary checks and balances for this company to go on for the better of Ghana, that will be done. Every single minister of this administration is monitored himself. And so you cannot have an agency working or a company working under you leaking so much revenue and you sit on it.
Allegedly.
Yes. Just like the mess NDC caused in the energy sector. Can you imagine an economy like the economy of Ghana leaking as much as $51 million a month in the signing of power purchase agreements to the tune, to an unnecessary tune that is causing this economy to bleed. $500 million a year.
Okay, so we're going to go for a quick break and then continue the conversation.
Yes,
we'll
due diligence.
Go for a quick break and continue. This is Breakfast Daily. If you have any questions for us, don't forget to use the hashtag Breakfast Daily. And the WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on CCTV. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, again, if you have any questions or comments, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832, and I'll be sure to read them. I have with me still Elikem Kotoko, who is the National Communications Team Member of the NDC, as well as Alphonse Naab, who is Government Communications Team Member as well. And before the break, we were discussing the brouhaha between the Manganese Company and the minister in charge of that company, who is the Minister of Land and Natural Resources. 2 days ago, the company was ordered to shut down because of tax evasions and some price manipulations. They've come out to say that they don't even set their prices. GRA set their prices, and they've been paying taxes, paying so much to a point where last year they still have some $20 million tax returns. But the good news is both parties are going to meet tomorrow, and we'll be sure to update you on the results of that meeting. Now we'll move on to our second story here. It has to do with the national identification registration. So I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says, NIA delaying Ghana card process to denationalize Voltarians. That's coming from Dziffa Akua. And I'm reading here from citynewsroom.com again, if you want to read along. The National Democratic Congress is demanding extension of the mass registration and issuance of Ghana card registration in the Volta region due to the slow pace of the exercise and the numerous challenges that have saddled the process. The NDC is also saying it will reject any attempt to make the national ID card a voting instrument in any national elections, as they believe the National Identification Authority is deliberately conducting the mass registration in a manner to denationalize the people of the Volta region. So I'm going to quote Dziffa Akua, who's NDC's National Director of Elections. He says, "We are not impressed at all with how the entire exercise has been run so far. There seem to be abnormal queues at these centers, causing people to sleep at centers to get registered, probably because of the distant places they come from. Unfortunately, an average of about 60 persons are registered daily, which means this is going to take a very, very long time. He goes on to also say that, well, City News reports that one of the people is actually an 84-year-old Francis Adovle, who told CT that he has been to 4 different centers over the past 8 days to register, but to no avail, hence his decision to come and spend the night at the center. So right there, you can read along with us. But my first question is, before I come to you, Elikem, Alfonso, why is it so difficult for us to register in this country? I mean, earlier last year, students were supposed to register to go to school through some electronic process. They came out frustrated. Was it last month? I went to register for my voter registration card. I was there for hours. And I'm thinking, if we're saying we're going to make things electronic, the whole point of going digital is to make your life easier, not to frustrate your life. So if you can help us understand why, on the one hand, we say we're going to do registration, we're going to do this to make things simpler, but then Ghanaians have to wake up at 2 a.m., be somewhere all day just to register for something?
Yeah, I think it's a genuine concern. We are all worried about it. We went through a similar thing here in Greater Accra during the registration. But we are dealing with technology. You remember in the voter registration, at a point, they had to use both manual and the e-system to facilitate it. So where the internet breaks down, then they use the manual system so that people could just go through it. I believe that this is new. It is now happening. And they are also relying much on the internet system to get things work. In fact, when they came to Ministry of Interior to register us, that's where I got my NIA card.
How long did it take
the
you?
Ghana card. In fact, there was consistent interruptions in the network. And they attributed it at the time to, Ministry of Interior is very close to national security. And they said that security gadgets within the system are interfering with the internet network. So it was very difficult. So going through the manual processes and entering the data and all that was very easy. But the internet kept going up and down. And so I went through the process very easily. But it took almost the whole day before I got the card.
Wow.
Yes, it took almost the whole day because the internet was not flowing. So I guess this is the situation. And for that matter, when the NIA is going into any region or any particular area to register, they have their targets that they set to meet, just like the Electoral Commission also set a certain target. This is the mass registration. This is the first phase of it. And so everybody, understandably would like to have that Ghana card as quickly as possible and put issues behind you. Let's remember that the NIA it's been set up in such a way that it will be self-sustaining revenue-wise. It will be on its feet so that it will not be under government subvention. And the fastest they get this done, the better for the entire NIA. Because if you get more people registered and you get people beginning to use the card, that is where you can earn some revenue to be self-sustaining. And so what has been thrown out there by Honorable Elvis is most unfortunate. It doesn't, he did not, I don't think he went to the ground to seek for figures. If you seek for figures, again, I went on the website of City FM. Yes, and I got adequate information, especially from the Director of Communication of NIA. And from the target they have given to themselves and what has been done so far, everything is in order.
Okay.
So this issue of shouting wolf when there is nothing will continue to be with our opposition.
Okay.
It is to draw as much media attention to themselves as possible.
But let's focus on the people
what
of
Honorable
Ghana
said,
here. Go ahead.
What Honorable Elvis said, the key thing is that it's a very divisive and a very dangerous comment that he made.
How so?
Who will it benefit to denationalize or whatever of Voltarians? The MPP, for Christ's sake, does not get zero in Volta Region. We have strong support base in Volta Region. We respect it so much, and Volta Region did a lot for the MPP in the last election. It will serve the interest of anybody if that exercise does not go on well. Look at the statistics that the man gave. They are targeting about 572,000 people. It is ongoing. So far, they have registered 318,000 people, over 318,000 people. Cards issued so far, 230,000 cards issued so far. And so the process is going on according to, they are targeting 80% of people above 15 who are to register. And they have gone beyond 50%. So all is moving well. What is what is the interview and this divisive comment about?
Okay.
It's just to draw media attention. You see, when the opposition is looting the fight.
Do you think NIA has done well by Ghanaians? You rightly admitted that even here in Accra,
Yes.
something that should take you perhaps 30 minutes to do took
Sure.
you a whole day.
Sure.
Shouldn't they have learned from that experience to say, if someone like you can take one whole day to register for a card because of some inefficiencies in the system,
Yes.
the system is supposed to make the process faster,
Yeah.
they should learn from it and make sure that people in Volta Region don't experience this. Because that's, if you were working for someone, you might get fired. If you're a market woman, you've made a loss. You might not even get the money to pay for your children's feeding the next day.
Yes.
Shouldn't they have learned from that experience and made this process easier on people in other regions?
From what I am reading, what is going on in Volta Region is far better than what transpired in Accra.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
From what I am getting from the Director of Communication, it's far better. So it means that they are learning. But there are systems in place that we don't control.
Okay.
Even as a media house.
Because
Imagine if the internet...
I rightly
Yes.
quoted a man we spoke to, an 84-year-old man who
Yes.
said he's been to four different centers in 8 days just to register, and he's still not been successful.
You see, if you're talking of an 84-year-old man struggling to register, I wouldn't put the blame on NIA.
Who would you put the blame on?
But we, the citizens ourselves, you go and there is a long queue, an 84-year-old man. What is wrong with us permitting him to come? He doesn't have the strength.
So shouldn't NIA maybe have a
understand?
queue for elder
Very
citizens,
good. Even if
citizens
NIA,
and maybe
even-
pregnant women,
Very good.
things like that, so that there's a process we are following?
Thank you. Even if NIA does not make provisions
But
for
shouldn't
that,
they make provisions for that?
They should. It is really, really appalling to have an 84-year-old man going around centers. But what I'm saying is that even if the NIA does not make that provision, you and I will not. I have stopped my car to take pregnant women cross the road before. I mean, simple. You understand? But what I'm saying is that we are working with an internet system. Even as a media house, you will admit that the internet system, you may not totally have control over it.
You have
And
control
so
over
if it goes
technology,
down, yes,
Alphonse, respectfully.
Yes.
You have control over technology.
Yes.
It's supposed to make your life easier.
Yes.
So if I'm doing things manually and technology is actually going to bring me back, there's no point, because it's supposed to actually enhance my productivity, not the opposite.
very good. Technology is available. We have tabs here.
Yes.
Good. Imagine the net is down. What will be the use of this? If the net is down, it will cut down over 90% of the functions of this.
Yes, and then
you understand?
that is
so,
an
and you don't
abnormality.
have control over the
internet being down is an abnormality.
Abnormality,
because if I'm
yes.
paying for my internet,
Yes.
the service provider should give me value. So if I'm going somewhere else tomorrow, if the net is down today, tomorrow I have to ensure it doesn't go down because I'm paying for the value.
That's right.
Same thing applies to the NIA.
That's right.
If you're struggling, whoever your internet provider is, you're paying for that service.
That's right.
They shouldn't frustrate the citizens of Ghana with registering for a card because some internet provider is, being mediocre with the value they are providing it.
Thank you. That is the system we have as a developing country. We are not the best yet. I am not defending NIA. I believe that it should be better than it is. And it's because of this situation that sometimes you are compelled to have about 2-3 phones, different networks, because one network may fail at the other time.
So let me come now to
so technology is there to enhance things, but
so
this is what I think.
It's technology.
Let
it's
me
not a delivery.
on something small. Something
that's
small.
Fine. Please.
My brother said, this government should give us at least one scandal a week.
We're not doing politics.
That is the NDC standard.
We're not doing
For
politics.
us, a scandal is one too many.
Okay, thank you.
And no minister will sit and watch it happen.
Thank you very much. Elikem, is it a bit of a stretch to say they are trying to denationalize Voltarians? This could just be a technological malfunction.
Thank you so much, Dziffa. I'm lost for words as to where to start from and how to address this whole thing. In the first place, we have people who are supposed to be apostles of competence, continuously telling us that the systems are not working, but we should not blame them. And sometimes people are telling blatant lies to you and I that, look, I have been through the process and monitored this process. Would you believe that throughout the entire exercise, I was not able to register? Because each time I went to the venue to do so, it was not possible. And averagely, it took you 3 days to get completed. Interestingly, a government spokesperson will want Ghanaians to believe that you guys are complaining too much. I went there, it took me only a day. The system was, look, I am expecting a certain service. In all these anyways, where is our digitization technology ambassador, our vice president? He's talked so much about a lot of technology. This is where there's a deficiency and we expect to bring his expertise to bear so that we know that there's an efficiency over there. But he's running away from that sector. You see, the NIA, and wanting to say that Elvis Afriye's comment was divisive and all that. Again, we have squared pegs in round holes. You have had an experience of an exercise in the Greater Accra region, which is supposed to inform you on the lapses because that was your first point. And you go to another region and you're experiencing the same thing. An old man who is 84 years has to go to 4 different centers, and you are saying that you not blame the NIA. That is even very absurd. To say that you will not blame the NIA, you rather expect people to have morals to allow when the institution that is conducting the exercise is failing to realize the need to even create a special system for such people. You cannot continue insulting the intelligence of Ghanaians. And you see, when you look at all this, my brother was talking about the manual system to online and all that. If you have a manual system that is working effectively, it should be able to even run when there's a network breakdown. But even when there's a network breakdown, the system is still slow. For instance, this Volta Region, for instance, the exercise was programmed to end on the 24th of this month. It has been cut short to the 14th, when already there are anomalies within the system. And so when you do that, you are already disenfranchising or denationalizing people, and that is a fact. And so when someone says, or Honorable Fifi Kwete says, Elvis Afriye says that you are denationalizing people, he is telling you exactly what the situation is. And he has been to the grounds, and he made that comment as a result of his presence in the grounds. And you are saying that you don't know whether he went to the grounds. With all due respect, I do not know if my brother is listening to himself and listening to what the statements that are being read at.
No, I think he is listening to himself. I think he's done his.
And so there's nothing like a similarity or look.
But is NDC exaggerating a bit to say that we won't accept the national ID as a voting instrument, or you think it's a genuine concern to raise?
You see, we will be quick to take certain things out of context. For instance, if I tell you that I won't be surprised, however, you see, everyone knows that there's politics around almost everything. The quality of the air you breathe is determined by politics, because government can decide to cite a factory here that will be polluting the air. It's affecting the air you're
What's the correlation between the voters' ID and the national ID as far as...
So what I want to tell you, for instance, is that will you be surprised if, for instance, the exercise is being conducted in the Ashanti region and everything seems to be going on smoothly?
I think people still complain in the Ashanti region.
No, I'm just saying, what will be the connotation? What will be the situation? But the fact is that must we allow these things to happen? So what was the learning curve for the NIA in the first place when it conducted the exercise in the Greater Accra region? And so if you have gone to another region, and these are the lapses, the system is very slow, and they have even relocated some centers without communicating to the people. Who does that? Administratively, that is to frustrate the system and the people that are supposed to be involved in this exercise. And so when you are doing all this, you don't turn around to rather make it look like it is someone who is trying to draw your attention to the inefficiencies. An inefficiency that you have admitted yourself from the word go.
So let's let's now hear from the side of the NIA, and they're saying that the comments from the NDC on Volta Region is actually quite unfortunate, and I'm going to quote them here. So the NDCs, now we've talked about a free-year anchor already. So ACI Palmdetti, who spoke on Eyewitness News yesterday, says here, and I'm going to read it briefly. He's the head of corporate affairs at NIA. He says, it's unfortunate that the exercise in the Volta region has been described as a disaster. I think our story in this Volta region has been far better than even in the greater Accra region. I say this based on the facts and figures I have at my disposal. If we take our target for Volta region, which is 80% of persons 15 years and above, we are capturing about 572,000 of eligible persons in the Volta region. Total registration in the Volta region is 318,22 so far, which is above half our target. Those who have been issued with cards are 230,000. So from what we have done so far in the number of days, we have not done the Volta region a disservice. It is true that we have a lot of people out there anxiously waiting to get themselves registered to get their card. It is also our utmost determination to have these eligible registered. So he's saying people who are eligible will be able to register. He's laid down all the numbers. Could it just be that the people who are experiencing these frustrations might be outliers? Because clearly NIA is meeting its targets in the Volta region.
You see, Dziffa, for instance, when did the exercise begin and at what point did they achieve that figure? With just about less than 7 days or 6 days left for them, you've achieved half the target and you are left with just 5 days and you call it a success already?
Are you doubting the NIA's numbers?
You see, you've done more than half of the time. Let's say it's 30 days. You've done 20 days. You are left with 10 days. And in 20 days, you've done half. And you are left with 10 days and there's another half left. And you can't foresee that it is becoming a failure. And why are we settling for mediocrity in the first place? That efficiency has no compromise. Efficiency has no excuse. And so when the people are saying that, look, these are the challenges. You see, the director is not even addressing the concerns being raised. Why have they shifted the date from 24th to 14th? Why have they cut it short by 10 days? Why have they relocated some of the centers without communicating to the people? Where people as old as 84, who knows even if there's a 90-year-old person who also goes there to join the queue. People are sleeping at centers to wake up only to realize that this is not going to be the venue again. Who does that? Why is that happening? And why is it only in the Volta region? I never heard of such situation, for instance, in the Greater Accra region. And so when people are concerned and complaining about this, it is because they are very much interested in the exercise. It is the reason why the NDC has stated categorically that if this exercise does not go on smoothly as expected, we would resist any attempt to use the national identification card as a modus for registering people to exercise their franchise for the next elections. And that is a given that we will not give away on.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on now to our final story. Unfortunately, we have to touch on this, but then you can also add it when you're submitting your final statement. So, still reading from citynewsroom.com. Finance Ministry directs ECG to oversee PDS bank account. The ECG is to assume oversight responsibility of movement of funds to and from all accounts operated by PDS. We know that PDS has been placed on suspension, so I'm going to read it briefly. The Ministry of Finance is currently facilitating the defreezing of PDS accounts to ensure that there are funds to support the day-to-day operations. So they're saying they are not in any way trying to undermine PDS. They're just ensuring that ECG will on day-to-day basis handle these accounts and will also be updating PDS on the outflows as far as the accounts is concerned with revenue and the likes. So Alphonse, I've been pronouncing your name Alphonse all morning. Touch on this. PDS getting suspended, ECG coming back to handle their affairs while they are investigating what's going on with PDS's accounts.
Okay. Yeah, before I get there, let me say that this whole national identity thing started under President Kufuor. The NDC came to power for 8 years. Absolutely nothing happened. Okay. So if there is an inefficiency of a system, that warrants a press conference. In the beginning, they said they were not going to take part. I don't know who invited them back. Now that they are taking part, they are criticizing the system. The criticisms, constructive criticisms, are welcome, but don't divide the nation by saying that we are trying to denationalize some people. To whose benefit will that be?
Okay. Please,
yes.
Let's come back now.
So that is how I will put it. Okay. You remember when you reduce light bill, the whole press conference, that you are killing the energy sector. Well, you increase light bill, there is a press conference.
Okay, let's move on.
So that is what the opposition does, but it keeps them active.
ECG,
yes. So let's PDS and ECG. The Energy Commission has actually selected ECG to get back and handle especially the finances. The finance ministry is trying to defreeze some of the accounts because certainly energy is expensive and you need money to run the system. And so if you continue to freeze funds, then it will be difficult to operate. And so some of the accounts are being being freed so that they can make use of it to run the system. But this is done strictly under the supervision of ECG. No PDS staff is supposed to handle any check or cash or anything. There is a lot of supervision that is being done so that by the time the investigation, the 30-day line investigation is concluded, as you are aware, ministers are already out of this country as part of the investigation that is going on as far as this is concerned. And we, as a government, in fact, we are very happy that the government took this action this quickly to safeguard, our energy sector and to make sure that things go on well. It is also to enhance transparency. That is why the Energy Commission is involved, PURC is involved in this matter, the Finance Ministry is involved, ECG, and all the power sector players are involved to enhance transparency.
And these are the same people who were involved when PDS took over as well.
That's right.
And then we didn't see all these issues with PDS.
That's right.
But that's for another day.
Yes, that's for another day. Actually,
we've run out of time.
There is a government that has appointed itself through its own friends, cronies, allies, tribesmen.
We can still appreciate the efforts they are making at righting their wrongs. Yes, definitely. We would appreciate the efforts they are making to scam the nation of a state asset. We are aware of the composition of this whole PDS. Yeah, I think scam is a bit of it's a bit extreme because historically we always try to privatize state assets, especially when we're having challenges with revenue collection.
I don't know if you have come across this letter by the Finance Ministry, for instance.
4 years of Doomsday was achievement.
Please allow him make his point. You will get a
I
chance
chose not to respond to most of his allegations because I believe Ghanaians know.
Go ahead. We're talking about ECG handling PDS's financial affairs.
You see, it's like an in-house boardroom wrangling, power wrestle 10 baht, and therefore there's a show of power, I am this and all that. In the first place, there was so much interest from a finance minister in the privatization of an entity to the extent that we have a minister of finance wanting to dictate for a private entity that they should transfer their shareholding to dilute it through a special purpose vehicle, which is an illegality on its own, for which reason we want to always continue to ask the multi-million question: what is our finance minister's interest in PDS? Because you don't tell them what to do. Your institution is an example. I do not think that the Ministry of Communication can wake up tomorrow by probably using Pepsodent or using a different toothbrush or toothpaste and wanting to come to dictate for you here that, look, City, I think you are doing well or you are not doing well. Based on that, open up for Mr. A or B over here to also own share. If that is exactly what you want to do, then the IPO should have been the first place where you would have raised more. So there's a lot of questions about the integrity of the people. And it seems there's a state capture by a regime aimed at even making sure that they take full control of state institutions so that even in opposition, they can stifle government.
Okay.
Now, when you look,
please wrap up for us.
Yes, when you look at this whole thing, you see, it is neither here nor there what you are defreezing this or doing that and all that. Because this government is always taking the wrong steps and wanting to now make us applaud them for the wrong steps they are taking, which they are trying to right. But see, PDS, government, they are the same people, and Ghanaians need to know this.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we received some messages from you. We're going to read them briefly. Jagos from Nsawam says, we all want to know the truth about this PDS saga, though ECG has been ordered to check the account of PDS, but their board directors should have been arrested by now because they have doomed the country. Hello, City, please, how far with the savings and loans clean up? And once again, you guys are really doing a good job. Thank you so much, from Fojo. Good morning, CCTV. There are some anomalies in most of the sectors in Ghana. The government should therefore take swift measure to fix them all. As for voters register, it seems government has a hidden agenda to deny some people, because I don't know why more people in Greater Accra have not registered. This is coming from Ali Abdul Latif. Kindly tell the MPP man in your studio to visit any of the centers in the Volta region and get himself informed. He doesn't know. Okay, it's unfortunate. Okay, fine. So this is coming from Mawuli Vomawo. He's saying that you should head on over to Volta region and experience it for yourself. Ghana Manganese Companies cannot fight government, but the government is going to the media to destroy the corporate reputation of Ghana Manganese Company is bad, and we must all condemn it. Well, thankfully, they are meeting tomorrow. At the time, government issued its statement to shut down Ghana Manganese Company due to reports from audit from GMT Incorporated in realizing Ghana Manganese Company had no copy of said audit report. This is also a violation of the confidence and trust built between the two parties. So this is coming from Kabute. Good morning, madam. I actually enjoy this morning show. Thank you so much. All right, more messages that we can't read because we have run out of time. But thank you so much for joining us. Up next is our DIY segment. But I want to say a big thank you to Elikem Kotoko, National Communications Team. I've gotten it right all morning, and and Alphonse Naab, Government Communications Team member. Thank you both so much for being with us. Don't go anywhere. We're going to learn how to paint in our DIY segment. We'll be right back.